Welcome everyone to the 284th, I think. Fourth? Yeah, 284th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. Jeez, that's a
That's a
mouthful
lot.
now. Yeah. We got 50, is it 52 or 54 weeks a year?
52.
Yeah.
According to that, that's 4.5 years. 4 3/4.
Oh
I
god.
don't know if that math works out. That doesn't feel right.
It's it's strange to think about.
Yeah. Well, as you can hear, still with us after apparently 4.75 years, Allie Claw.
Hello. I'm not dead yet. Yet.
Yeah.
Getting there.
This is the stream that'll do it.
This is the one.
We got Vex to replace us, so we can
Yeah.
all die now.
Oh, that's good.
But I didn't sign up for this.
Too bad.
You were the chosen one!
You and Tofu are taking over. Done. You gotta wait. Be ready.
There's also a CPC,
That is me.
a Pixie
I'm
Mob,
also alive.
Hello.
and a me. Hi, it's me.
And there's also me back from the shower. Hello.
Oh, Fluffy's Eyes here.
Yeah.
But I need to dry my hair, so I will need to mute. But I'm here.
Hello, Fluff.
I'm a soggy Zai at the moment.
Name
Imagine him
changer
just-
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Either way, we gotta hold out our rules.
And now in like 2 minutes, it'll be Super Fluffy Guy.
When the hair dries. Yep.
Yeah.
This is where Fluffy's Eye came from. Is I would change my name on IRC to Soggy's Eye after I had a shower, and then I get dry, my hair is fluffy, so I go to Fluffy's Eye, and then it just sort of stuck.
And now we know. So we got a few pictures submitted today. There's one submitted on our Discord, you know that thing. But we believe that we've filled them in on as much information as we can. If they have any additional questions, they'll probably ping us. But for now, since I don't see them, let's go on to the art that is submitted. The first one, top left-hand corner, is by Seborgan. You might know them from the previous streams. And maybe critique, because they critique sometimes.
Yay!
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Always
So
love a
this is-
critiquer.
I love them.
Tried rendering layer by layer. Somehow line work looks prettier for me. I know this game. Line work, it's nice and clean and wonderful and does the thing that you're looking for, and then you start adding color and shading, and all of a sudden you go, oh my god, where'd my line go? It's a fun game.
Especially in areas like that where you're seeing through things, and later on you like have to cover up and you can't see your pretty lines anymore.
Aggressively shading, like making sure your shading is popping and not just being like a very large diffuse area, can help fill in some of those sharp areas if that's what you're looking for. What I mean by that is like your trailing or your winglets here, the outside of the wing. You got these very poppy highlights going on there. If you're to bring that through to some of the other areas like the tail and the top end of the boot and stuff, it's going to help make some of those lines pop a lot more. Not 100% necessary, but can be fun. Just making everything go pop, pop.
Pop.
Pop up.
There you go.
Yeah. Just chuck the contrast up. You can push things a lot.
I just noticed Ali's icon on Aggie. Okie doke. I'm in now. There's a silly potato on the bottom of the canvas.
I don't have much
So-
else to say on this one. Anyone else?
Is this
So-
the, like sliding rainbow?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
you want your focus to be here on the bush around this area, bush, all the stuff right here. You can do a lot more of this like fadey outy kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe out there. So let's
Maybe even blur it
uh,
slightly.
if I don't accidentally reload my Aggie and give me 1 sec.
The most contrast and the most sort of detail you want in the sort of focus point is what Pixie's getting at. So it helps draw
Yeah,
your eye
totally.
directly to that.
Oh my god, I pressed the same reload page button again.
Sometimes it's hard to remember buttons.
Exactly. Yeah, like you can see me just like, fading out as it sort of goes along. You can do that sort of stuff and like, just push that sort of because the area over here isn't quite as important, you can like ramp up those sort of effects and mess about with them a lot more and all that kind of sort of stuff. And if you want to mess with those sort of effects more over in this area, what you can do, because everything, like it looks like this is a bit of like a snowy sort of a scene, and all of this is like this faded out kind of like wispy, cloudy sort of thing. What you could do over here, if you want to sort of continue that sort of effect, is get a smaller brush, wider brush, and then like add like little flecks of like snow and all that sort of stuff. Because what that does is that makes these areas more interesting, which sort of draws the eye around here. So you leave the sort of less interesting parts for over here, because that's not where people's attention should be. And you have like the more interesting sort of like, little particles and flecks and all sorts of like fun, wacky, weird stuff like over here, I don't know, I'm doing a bad job. But yeah, you can mess around with like,
It definitely helps.
star brushes or anything. And what you could even do, depending on the program you're using, is like do this sort of stuff, sort of thing, and then add some like radial blur or like some
Yeah.
direction blur or something like that to like experiment a bit. It's a good picture.
Anyone else with any words of advice?
No, lovely words were
No.
spoken.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's
it might
party.
be-
Oh,
It might be good to look at a touch of background stuff and a touch of extreme foregroundy stuff. So like, it doesn't need to be much. You can just be like, okay, let's grab this color, one of these colors back here, turn it a little bit more blue, and then, have some like, some dodgily rendered sort of mountains or some junk in the background, and do the same thing over this area. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just having something in the background to sort of establish this as a scene. And then you see this sort of area, it kind of presents as like something in the foreground, like way in front of the character. You saw someone doing something similar kind of over here. Just doing that kind of stuff will help sort of make the scene feel a bit more interesting. Yeah, you can see all the people doing like all the weird fun stuff.
fun stuff.
I love it. Yeah,
We do the weird stuff.
the fun stuff. Good job.
All right, let's go party on to our next horse.
Yeah.
Horse. All right, this cutie patootie is by a Drawing Owl 1. First drawing of this OC. Think the perspective of the pendulum could be better, but not quite sure what kind of angle the eclipse of it should be. Any pointers on that? No, the ellipse, not eclipse. Ellipse of it should be. Any pointers on that? Other pointers would be helpful as well. Thanks.
Okay. You can probably push the perspective of this a bit. Just make it go wild, go crazy.
Mm-hmm. And doesn't Drawlbucks have an exercise that tackles this exact challenge of getting like circles to ellipse correctly in a perspective?
Mm. Yeah, you do something along these lines, and then you can like do that sort of thing, and then boom, 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 and then do that sort of thing. It looks pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd just push the perspective a bit more and like make it more interesting.
Mhm.
What I am seeing is this thing right here, the top of the thing. Okay, so the bottom of this what I'm imagining this is like the plate of the thing, and then this whole like thing is like boom, and then it's got like the oh my god, the like boom, and the pen or whatever here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
The width right here and the width right here are exactly the same, which wouldn't really be the case if
Yeah.
this part is coming towards us. So
I hadn't really
what I'm
thought of
what
that.
I'm what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like see around about the center of this. Gonna trace that up. Here is kind of where this should be if it's meant to be like centered over the bowl. So you can do something like that. Boom. Something like that. Have a lot more sort of overlappy sort of stuff there. And then have that sort of come off of there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And something along those lines would probably make it feel a little bit more convincing. But
I really
no
like
big
that
stress.
method you just showed. That was nice.
I love it. I do the same stuff for like when I'm like planning out ponies on the floor. I'll like map their hooves onto the floor and then sort of draw them up. And I do the same thing with like if I'm trying to like plan out where lights should go, like light sources, I'll like mark it on the floor, bring it up, and sort of. And then the cool thing is that you can, if you have marks for everything, sort of where everything is on the floor, then you can be like, trace everything along for like nice. Perspective is fun. I like it. You can mess with a lot. But yeah, I kind of just make that more interesting by doing that. Push this top bit over, because it's like being foreshortened, so the part that's like closest to us is going to be a little bit bigger. And otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. Good job.
Don't forget them eye spots. It does help to add a pupil, but really it goes both ways with different characters. Some have pupils, some don't. In the show, they all have pupils, but you do you. I would just add the highlights to the eyes because otherwise it sort of makes them look dead, like they lose the shine. That's about all I got. Anyone else?
I will say this isn't really related to like the positioning and foreshortening and everything like that. But I never have a chance to say this sort of thing when I'm taking a commission because I don't really have the right to. But right now I'm in a position where I'm allowed to give advice. I think it's a really bad idea to have one of or both of the main colors the same as the body color. Like I don't think it's a good idea. It is very confusing to look at, and this is a very specific like thing you're trying to put across. Like you're not trying to make the character look like a real character. You're trying to make them look like, say, like a ponification of something. As an example, like M does, it's pretty bad to use one of the main colors as the same as the body color. It's best to try and differentiate thing. Look for contrasting values. Look for contrasting color combinations because you can have a lot of fun with that, and it helps to make the character look a lot more realistic and natural. So that would just be my advice.
Yeah. Colors are fun to
ultimately,
mess with.
ultimately, it's up to you. But yeah, I think it's a bit limiting because there's so much you could do with this. There's lots you could do with purple.
All right, shall we
There's
move
even
on?
like those. Oh, I keep
Go.
talking when you're going to talk. There's even like those sites where you can like look up different color palettes and create different stuff like that. That might be cool to mess with. And we have the next horse.
All right. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So this is by Famous Wishbone 7098, and it's pony version of Benda from Kagwana. One of my favorite animes. Okay.
I'm gonna have to Google
Alright.
this.
You have to share with the class if you find it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a horse. I like horses.
We're easy to please. We like anything if it's a horse.
That's the proper one for the peanut gallery.
I don't really.
Spooky.
We've got some body drawings. I do like the sort of long sleeve, like too long sleeve look on. It looks cute on any creature. The oversized hoodie aesthetic.
What if I
Uh,
put a too long sweater on a sweater? Will it look cute?
I mean, I would hug it. Okay, where's my tablet pen? I have to draw something now. Just gonna look at the sort of flow of like the back into the tail, but I don't know where my pen is. I haven't drawn for a couple of days because I've been lazy poop head.
So for your shading, be careful with black.
Mm-hmm.
Your so traditional. I mean, the easy way of saying shading is shading's the absence of light, so it should just get black, right? That's like a surface evaluation of it, but in reality, it's actually desaturating and tinting and getting darker and darker. But generally, it's shifting towards a blue hue and just getting towards that darker. Now, your base is already very blue, so just by saying shifting towards a blue, it's going to be slightly difficult, but you still want to keep the richness in it. If you're here, I'm going to just move the canvas over slightly so you can see that color wheel of doom. So if we have our blue up here, right? We starting off with this blue, let's say, and I wanted to shade it. Because it is blue, I really can't tint it much more, but I can slightly add or bring that contrast up, or not contrast, sorry. I can shift it towards the darker tone of that and still get. My brush settings are screwed up. One sec. What is wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one? Why is that mixing? Stabilizer, no. Brightness opacity. Come on. Okay, well it's mixing for whatever reason. There it goes. So we can just keep working towards the darker without hitting the blacks, because once we start getting towards the blacks, the color no longer makes sense. We're removing all available light from there, and it doesn't really make sense in context for the rest of the light hanging around. I hope that makes a bit of sense, because honestly, it's confusing when you start digging. But give it a go. Don't go
Yeah.
for the full black.
So what I was looking at here was to sort of increase the sort of flow of how the tail and back looks. So if we, will you let me? There we go. If we look at the way it sort of is originally, you got the back sort of coming down and then up and around to the butt in this very sort of like gourd shape, and then the tail sort of juts out here, and then it goes like straight. So it's going this way first, and it turns very abruptly to go this way, and then you have the nice swoosh, sort of coming in here. There's a lot of sort of the directions being pushed here and there, all over the place. But after this point, it's kind of a nice swoosh, and that's good. But everything else, you sort of want to have it be a bit more flow. So like basically, this is sort of pushed down a bit. So you want to push it like the other way, make it go outwards, and really increase that effect of like the spine sort of flow, which is kind of what I sort of showed here. You can see how it's. I'm gonna erase that now. Yes, it sort of has a smoother sort of transition, and then as it flows into the tail, it sort of has this nice like continuation. You can sort of make it thicker like this if you want, or thinner. It's up to you. But I always like to see the sort of torso and tail being one coherent form, and then the legs sort of where the tail and legs sort of separate, being defined here, which you can do very easily because they have armor, the sort of back armor. So that's pretty good. What I do with Kieran is I usually put a bit on top of the tail like this, and it sort of hooks into the armor. So the armor, if I get a different color, would sort of go like this. But yeah, it's up to you to sort of experiment. But I think increasing the sort of flow of the back like that helps it look super duper nice, and you get that nice swoosh, like from the not just from like here or in your original picture from here, but from the neck, swoosh. You know, we want to increase the swoosh. Yes, that lovely swoosh. You might not get it straight away, but it's just sort of taking a step back to look at the curve of everything and saying what needs to be pushed where to make it look smoother. I sort of have this experience when drawing a lot of snakes, which is just this, and you know you got to deal with like the foreshortening, like there's too much there. My pen glitched out there, that doesn't help, and it's sort of saying like, okay, well, how can I sort of correct the flow to make it look more uniform, more sort of straight and natural looking, and so increase the sort of flow of everything, which can be difficult to get right, but with practice it works. And it's very, very fun. So yeah, just experimenting with that, I suppose. Erase this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone else got
You can see
anything to
some
say?
stuff.
Dang
You
it,
can see some
Pix.
stuff people have
I just
been.
got to get you in my
I know.
room.
Yeah. You can see
Sleepover.
the things people have been doing with the hoodie. It looks great. It looks amazing. I
So
kind of just pushed this ear out. So one going up, one going out, just to make it more interesting.
so
Fancy busy?
what I did with the hoodie. So how I usually approach clothes, like especially hoodies, because they're really baggy. I first put on this. Oh god, this isn't the right tool. I put on this stuff, the bands at the bottom. So I put this one here, this one here, and this one here. And then I also look, because those ones will be fitted to your body, and it's going to create like gathering here, like places where the fabric all bunches up here and here. And that's what creates those lines. Then I look for places where the fabric is in tension, so like the fabric is being held up as if you're like holding a towel on your fingers, which should be like this dot here and here over the shoulders, like there's a tension point there where the fabric is stuck, like it's being held up. And that's what created these lines here. Like they just come out of the dot. It's just that when the clothes are all drawn, you won't see the dot. And in this case, the shoulder is pushing it up, so it will go like up, and then it relaxes here in the back, and then there's some bunching up here where it has to bunch up because of the space it has. And then at the bottom, it's actually just gravity that will act on it, so you get a really nice curved line with no bunching up because it's just gravity pulling it down. Like for example, here from the shoulder to the arm, it's just gravity there. And then in this one, it's a lot more straight. So instead of just making a curve, it's gonna come mostly straight because of the fabric has some weight to it, and then at the bottom it will do a little balloon where all the fabric is. And that's mostly what I did when I was doing the hoodie. Yeah, that's it.
Heck yeah.
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 I love it. That's super good.
It's just thinking of fabric instead of just like a thing you put on top. It's like think how gravity affects it, because it will also affect it,
Mhm.
not just hair and stuff.
Would putting a hoodie over a horn be very difficult? I figure it'd get snagged.
Oh,
I
probably
mean,
occasionally.
I put hoodies over my glasses all the time. It can't be that much harder.
Well, let's make your glasses the length of your head sticking out of it.
Mm.
I mean, sometimes they are. It depends how badly I put them on.
Holy
That's why
cow.
I need the.
It's like you just have to balance them very nicely. Just on top of your head turns into a unicorn horn.
I imagine the unicorns spend like a whole semester just going over like, okay, how do I not get things snagged on my horn?
There's like a safety operators course where they finally get to remove the big foam guard on the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
During the first 10 years of their lives, all baby unicorns run around with foam tips on their horns.
I'm
Make
okay
sure
with
they
this
don't
headcanon.
stab someone. It's like, Mom, I'm sorry, I just
That's what the
committed a
tentacle
murder.
is for. It's actually a safety thing.
All right. Does
That's
anyone
why the
else have
horns are
any?
so rounded.
Does anyone else have any other art they'd like submitted? Any other questions they have? Any other talking about Centaur worlds that they'd like to do?
All the time.
Me.
There's already way too much. It's too good.
Needs another season.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Well, seeing as everyone just jumped up and shouted, I better end it before they notice. So let's
Yeah.
call it a
What
day.
is happening? We've had a normal stream. It
I
hasn't gone on
know.
for 2 hours.
Weird.
I could have had my shower after the stream.
Ooh, for games.
So thank you all for coming. We'll
Fun.
see you again next week. Goodbye.
Fun.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.